Okay, Jimmie Johnson has joined us. He's our five-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion. He drives the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. He's our points leader. He's got a 2-point margin over Brad Keselowski. Jimmie won last week at Martinsville to claim his 4th win of the season. And Jimmie, before I talk to you about racing, I know this week your foundation has been very active in supporting the relief efforts, Hurricane Sandy, and maybe just touch on that, and then just because that's just indicative of what you do in this sport. So maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Myself, Hendrick Motorsports, and Lowe's are proud and happy and more than willing to donate money to the Disaster Relief Fund. It's something that Lowe's is very passionate about, and Hendrick Motorsports and myself certainly want to join in and support and help spread the word and hopefully influence others to donate. In the Manhattan area, the building that Shani and I have an apartment in, it's been flooded, and it's still evacuated. Nobody can go in the building. The bottom 2 floors are underground, and they've been flooded. Excuse me. And then the main lobby had some major damage too. So, it's impacted us in a small way. I know to many others in a much greater capacity, but just a wild deal up there. And to talk to our friends and the experiences they've had, and to know how many people through Manhattan and then all the surrounding area that are dealing with all the water issues. It's a sad thing, and hopefully, again, what we're doing will help influence others to donate and try to help our friends up there.
Thank you, Jimmie, and certainly the NASCAR Foundation is very active in that. And any fans or anybody in the sport that wants to donate can go to NASCAR.com/unites and participate in those relief efforts. Jimmie, talk about now. You're coming to Texas Motor Speedway, 3 to go. You got the points lead. Talk about your mind frame here for this weekend.
Honestly, it's really the same thing it's been all chase, and that's to go out and get as many points as possible. The mindset of sitting on the pole, winning the race. I think that's what you have to do with as tight as the points have been and how strong the competitors have been on the racetrack. Denny's troubles, it's put a gap for Brad and I over 3rd spot. And I guess in some respects, you can look at 2 guys in a 2-guy breakaway right now, but I'm not putting too much stock in that. A mid-pack finish from myself and Brad will bring everybody back into it, and it's not too big of a margin in my eyes. So I'm still very focused on getting as many points as possible and trying to win the race here this weekend.
Okay, Jimmie, we'll take some questions. We'll start back in the back corner right. Raise your hand there, Melinda, and we'll get her the mic, and then we'll go to Stan and then to Terry.
Hey, Jimmie. Melinda Adams, ESPN. There's already sort of been a little bit of verbal, jabbing between you and Brad K. I'm just trying to see how much does the mind game issue play into your strategy on and off the track?
I wasn't aware of any verbal jabs yet, but it's racing. I mean, there's different aspects to it. I think personalities of drivers, some are eager for those opportunities and like to play it out in the media and stir the pot. It's really not been my outlet. I like to go out and perform like I did last week and send a message on Friday with a strong qualifying effort. And if that doesn't work out, make sure that I rebound and come back on Sunday with a strong performance. So I look over the last couple of weeks and what our team was able to accomplish at Kansas with the damaged race car, and then what we did last weekend is quite a statement, and that we're serious about this championship, and we're doing the right things to go out there and try to win this thing.
Let's go to Stan Creekmore and then to Terry Blunt. Stan?
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com over here, Jimmie. Jimmie, I know that this chase is extremely important to you and everything, but I understand last night you were involved in an extremely important race as well, and I was wondering, did your team end up winning after all?
Yeah, we won the overall team competition last night, which was cool. Yeah, it was fun. It was my first opportunity to run a mud run. I've done some triathlons. I've done the few 5Ks, and to do a mud run, it was quite a different discipline. I think the distance of the race was like a mile, just over a mile, 1.2 miles, with had to be 10, 12, 15 obstacles, something like that. So, the running areas, you're trying to keep a good pace going, and then you're challenged with some obstacle that, for whatever reason, would elevate your heart rate higher than you wanted it to be, and then you get over or through or under the obstacle and take off running again, trying to catch your breath. So it was an intense 13 minutes during my lap. I ended up second overall, which was cool. My throat is still kind of raspy from it, just from breathing so hard yesterday in that event. It was an anaerobic workout, to say the least. So fun event, and I think the awareness from this event will, if Kurt decides to continue to do it, I think it has potential to be pretty big. Incorporate the fans, the competitors in the garage area. A lot of the team planes didn't send their crews early, but I have a feeling in the future there'd be enough crew members lobbying for an early plane to get out here and be a part of it. There's so many athletic guys that go over the wall and work in this garage area that they'd get involved in a heartbeat. And for a great cause, too. I need to also mention the charity component. So, I hope it was a successful fundraiser for them. And I know that I had a lot of fun in the event.
Let's go to Terry Blunt and then to Claire B. Lang.
Jimmy, the April race here was, a lot of long green flag runs. The cars got strung out. It wasn't, from a fan's perspective, the most exciting race of the year. Do you expect the same thing Sunday, or with different weather conditions, different situations, day instead of night? Do you think this race could be different from that one, or are you expecting it to be like that?
Yeah, I think it'll be like that, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think back to Kansas and what created all the cautions. I think a lot of it was the narrow racing groove and the uncomfortable or unbalanced aero situation that the pack was in, and it create some slipping and sliding and create a caution, and we had a lot of cautions. But here, we'll be from the line to the wall all the way around the track, and we'll have options, which drivers love. And it creates less cautions because we have an opportunity to race and move around. The flip side of that is there's a lot of green flag racing. So I'm preparing for that in my mind.
Claire, over to the far right, Claire B. Lang.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I seem to notice a different intensity with you in this chase, and I don't really know why or what. If you could sort of explain that, maybe because you didn't get it last year. And second of all, what do you think of the voting that you're saying, the presidential voting deal here between you and Brad Keselowski that they're offering up?
We're running for president? Is that what I hear? Man, Brad and I really screw things up. I don't know if you want that to happen. I wasn't aware of what is it? Oh, for the championship? Yeah. Oh, so it's not, okay. Yeah, I had no clue about it, so I certainly don't want to run for office. I would fail miserably at that. But my intensity, I've worked, my whole career to get to this point. I think I've matured a lot, even through the 5 championship years, and I think through last year and coming up short. And, I just think that I'm a better race car driver and focused on the right things today than I was last year, in the year before, and so forth and so on, and even my race team. So, I have a crystal clear focus on what I want to do and how I think I need to go about it. And I'm just in that mindset now of executing and trying to keep a good, even mindset and hit the track and execute.
And while the voting is just a themed sort of presidential theme because of the election, it really is facing you and Brad off against each other everywhere you look. You can't miss it when you walk into the garage or into the area. You try not to look at that, or any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I walked through the garage and I didn't see it. I guess I was too busy catching up with Curly on, I don't even know what it was. But it's great. I think the hype is great for our sport. It's certainly great for Brad and I both. It's a tough thing to dodge that excitement, notoriety, all that comes with it. And I'm glad I've missed it so far because it's just a distraction at the end of the day. So I'll just keep my blinders on and keep going in circles, hopefully fast circles.
Over here to the left, David.
David Caravello, NASCAR.com. Jimmy, obviously there's an age difference between you and Brad, but do the two of you have any kind of personal relationship at all? Or, I mean, do you know each other and to any extent, or is it just, do you know each other just on the racetrack?
Well, he was at Hendrick for a while, so but that was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. And he was pretty new in the sport, eager, talented, and showed a lot of speed and a lot of potential. I watched him in juniors car for a long time, or for those couple of years, and was excited for his success there. And I'm happy to see that he went to Penske as well. I know Roger well and certainly respect his organization and everything he's done in motorsports. So I think it's been a good fit along the way. But my relationship with Brad's really been at track or racing related. We haven't had a chance to hang out too much off the track. For the longest time, he hasn't been old enough to have a beer, so it's been hard to hang out too much. But you know, we've got a good relationship, and I feel a great deal of respect for one another, and I think that's why, you know, we've handled things how we have so far and have raced like we have. Yep.
Let's go to Nate right here, and then far right to Steve. Go ahead, Nate.
Nate Ryan, USAD. Jimmie, Clint Boyer was just in here, and he's obviously loose. He's got nothing to lose. You guys, you and Brad are kind of in the laser focus of the spotlight here, but he's kind of hanging out in the back. Do you think, one, do you think that demeanor helps him, and two, the way he's run the chase, is it, do we sort of like do ourselves a disservice to overlook him because he's been strong? It seems like on the mile and a half, which previously been his weakness, and obviously he's good at places like Phoenix. I guess, how are you sizing up him in this being a two-man race, but with a dark horse looming?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if Brad and I both have a mid-pack finish, it really opens this thing up at this point. If we finish in the 20s, something like that, man, this thing's real tight. But you know, there is some pressure taken off you when you're back. I think there's more pressure on the points leader, but there's more control as the points leader. I just a week ago was sitting there 7 back, thinking, okay, if I got 2 a weekend or if I had 3 a weekend, you know, how you play that game. So right now, I don't have to think about that. You know, there's the pressure to maintain, but I would much rather be leading the points than be anywhere else. So, you know, pressure shows up in a lot of different ways, and Clint is a serious threat. So is Casey. You know, those guys have been very strong. I think both have shown their best in the chase and have really delivered and stepped up. I'm glad that we have a gap over those guys because I like when it's down to one person and not, you know, 3 or 4 to deal with. And you know, if we slip up, they're going to be right there in the middle of it and strong. You know, good tracks for both of them. You know, I've said this about Casey too. If you look at his performance every year, he always finishes so strong. And I'm happy, you know, from my own selfish respect, to have a little gap on him right now because he could finish this thing out really, really strong.
Final question off to the right, Steve Richards.
PRN, Steve Richards. Started 4th, finished 4th at Phoenix last time. What was the racing like, and what do you expect this time with, you know, has a little bit of age on it, Phoenix sun on it?
Yeah, during the race we actually got some type of second lane working in 3 and 4, which was different. The dogleg kink, I don't know, turn 3, whatever it is on the back straightaway, there was a bit of chaos in navigating that thing and guys shooting across the flat, which led to some issues into, you know, the real turn 3. So I think that's really the thing to be focused on. You know, there might be some crashes caused from that, but you know, the track has had some time to age, and I hope it's lost some grip, so we'll definitely move out. You know, they spent a lot of time and effort to try to create extra lanes of racing through their modeling, and I hope they're right. You know, the first time there it was pretty narrow, and I hope that as it ages we can get a wider racetrack and really put on a good show.
Jimmie, thanks for coming in. Good luck this weekend.